Well, hello there everyone, Bella here, content creation specialist over at Self-Publishing School, and I'm about to drop some content on you. And I'll specifically be talking about the renowned writing method, showing versus telling. If you don't know what this means, no big deal. There are plenty of people who have absolutely no idea what this piece of writing advice is, but that's okay because that's why I'm here. If you haven't already, check out the blog post on Self-Publishing School about showing versus telling. It goes into incredible detail about what it is, how to do it, and it has a few writing exercises to help you get better at it. But today, my goal is to dig a little deeper into why your story needs showing versus telling instead of just writing the events that happened. Why do you need this piece of advice? But before I go any further, I have to address something serious, it's really important that you guys hear this. You need to hit that subscribe button. It's just a little click, it takes less than a second, and then you'll be constantly and continuously updated with new valuable content. So hit the button. I know you want to. You know you want to. I know you want to, so hit that subscribe button and we'll move on to the video. Fiction writers have probably already heard about this method before. It's a very popular piece of writing advice that's given to fiction writers when they're just starting out. It really helps them forge emotional connections within their characters and within their worlds. But it's also equally as important for non-fiction writers with your real life stories that you have to tell. Show don't tell is the technique of using more descriptive emotional writing to tell your story versus just saying the events that happened in order. This creates more intrigue, more interest, and more investment in your story. So why is showing versus telling so important for your book's success, even as a nonfiction writer? Well, number one, even nonfiction books have to have quality writing. It has to be good. Have you ever read a nonfiction book that's supposed to be really informative, or it has events of real life and it just was so boring you couldn't stand it? I know I have. Those writers typically didn't utilize show versus tell in their stories. And to be honest with you, it's never really about the story lacking, it's more about the writing not being crafted in a way that pulls people in. When you think about good writing, your mind probably wanders to works of fiction with all the flowery prose and descriptive paragraphs. But nonfiction writing can be just as compelling even though it's with real events. If you want to write a good book, fiction or not, you need to have those elements in your story. Just because your book is about real life events and stuff that you've lived through doesn't mean that it should lack the emotional depth. And that's exactly what showing versus telling does. When you show what happened, people relate to you more. They are more invested in your story and they'll feel more connected to it, and it'll be a much better read. Reason number two you need to show and not tell in your books. Nonfiction books need more intrigue than fiction do, typically. This might seem a little odd, but hear me out. Fiction books are entirely made up. The whole thing is a completely new story from start to finish. That's expected with fiction. Nonfiction books are typically factual and have a lot of informational-based content, which can be sometimes boring. And that means that you need other ways to hook your readers and pull them in. You need other ways to intrigue them. When you have a book that's real and factual, it's really difficult to get people emotionally involved. It's just not an easy thing to do because they're not expecting to be sucked into a story, but that's exactly why you need to do it. And the reason a lot of nonfiction books have real life stories that the authors lived through is because we need to make those emotional connections. They have to put a part of themselves into the story in order to help you understand the information, and so you feel for them. This is the key to creating an emotional connection with your readers. It's really what you need in order to build intrigue. And when you have a nonfiction book and people are looking to learn something from it, they're also looking to be sucked in. If it reads like a police report, it's not going to be very interesting to people. And that's why you have to master showing in your writing. Connecting with readers on an emotional level is what's going to make them want to read on and keep reading any story that you publish. It's what hooks them and makes your writing more exciting. Reason number three why you need to do more showing and not telling in your story is that it's gonna be pretty boring without it. I feel like you're already picking up on the fact that not having showing in your writing is pretty boring. It's not really compelling, it doesn't build intrigue, it doesn't build interest in your story. But the main takeaway here is that showing in your writing is going to make it so much more exciting because you're actually making people feel something. Have you ever got excited reading a textbook? Probably not, because they're purely informational, they don't have any stories, they don't really have anything interesting besides the facts that are on the page, which is exactly how you don't want to write your book. If you want people to like your book, feel emotionally connected to you and your story, and maybe give you those 5-star reviews, you have to add more emotional intrigue, which means you have to master showing. You really have to craft an experience for your readers from start to finish, and in order to do that, you have to replace all of your telly words with more descriptive showing. I do have an exercise in the blog post to help you do this if you want to check that out in the link below. Reason number four why you should have more showing versus telling in your writing. It creates empathy. Empathy is one of the most important elements in good writing. Being able to make a stranger feel for you on such a deep, impactful level takes a lot of skill. And you know what else it takes? That's right, more showing. And it's not just being able to describe what happened in detail, it's about using the right words to create that connection, the right descriptive language to forge something inside of them, to make them feel something. I also have an exercise for this listed in the blog post as well if you need help finding what kind of language you need to use for a specific situation in order to make it more emotionally impactful. Showing isn't just about the words either, it's about being vulnerable and putting your real emotions on the page so that somebody can relate to you. Because when people can relate to you, they care about you and they care about your story. That's what's gonna keep your readers interested and intrigued. Reason number 5 why you need to have more showing versus telling in your writing. It's how you hook your readers and keep them. I mentioned this in the blog post and it's a very important part of showing versus telling. You need to be able to hook your readers. They need to have a reason to want to keep reading. And if you do this right, you're going to create fans. These aren't just people who like your books, they like you. And therefore, they're going to read any other books that you write. And let's be real, if you have a single book worth of knowledge to share, you probably have more. And if you want to, make a living or grow your business or grow your blog through your book, it's essential that people are fans of you so they continue to come back for more. Showing is all about emotion. It's about being able to put the readers in your shoes so they can experience exactly what you did. Crafting your stories to read as emotionally deep and moving is how you create those connections. If you can master showing in your writing, you can write almost anything and people will care about it. So how many of you guys would consider yourself masters when it comes to showing versus telling? And how many of you guys have never really heard of this concept before and might need a little bit more help on it? Comment below so we can all kind of help each other out a little bit. And don't forget, if you're just starting your book or you don't know how to start or where to go or how to market it or even how to publish your book, we've got you covered. Sign up for one of Chandler Bolt's free webinar trainings. I have the link down below for you to save your spot. It's chock full of free, valuable information that you're really going to need on your writing journey. Check that out, and as always, make sure to subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching, guys.